So thanks for joining us today here at the library to learn more about the really exciting topic of referencing, but it is something that is required for every assignment you'll do of us here at the university for the course of your degree and beyond. So my name's Rachel. I'm an academic support librarian here at the University Library. First up, we'd just like to acknowledge the traditional owners of the land on which we meet today, the Kaurna people, and pay respects to the elders past and present, and we extend respect to all Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander people joining us today. So just a bit of housekeeping. This webinar is being recorded and will be available on YouTube afterwards in case you want a recap. So just to show you that there. This is our YouTube channel, and you can see you can see here we have uploaded our previous webinars that we've done in our series, and there's also some other videos there for you to look at as well. My great colleague Rani is on chat today to help you with any questions you have, and she'll be putting some links in the chat as we go on. So basically, we'll get stuck straight into it. So what is referencing and why should you do it? Well, basically, referencing is a process of acknowledging your sources. That's any kind of source you use in an assignment. You can see some on the screen here. Speeches, diagrams, a bit more of those non-traditional sources, books, journal articles. Basically, you're acknowledging the thoughts and ideas of the people who've written the works that then you're using for your work, and making it so your work's clear of plagiarism, and you can really demonstrate the research you've done and your understanding of the research landscape and the kind of key players in the field of your topic. And basically, it's an importance as a requirement and expectation in good academic work and academic practice. To pass your assignments, you need to really be transparent about where you're getting your information from. So basically, the library has a range of referencing support resources to help you on your referencing journey. On the homepage of the University Library here, you just have to scroll down to referencing support. Rani will also put a link in the chat to this for you. You can see here it gives an explanation of what referencing is. So we have an interactive guide for you to look through. We have resources on quite a few referencing styles because there's quite a few, and I'll explain what they are in a minute. I'm just going to draw your attention here to our frequently asked questions about referencing. So this page covers the reasons why you need to reference, how to reference. I think one of the key things you want to know when you're just starting out of referencing is how do you know when to reference? When you can see here, it kind of asks you questions you should ask of yourself when you're writing an assignment. And then you can say, okay, I've used this work. Have I quoted word for word, or am I paraphrasing? In both instances, you still really need to think about referencing as well. And we also have here a referencing interactive activity that links from this page. And you can go through this and you can kind of ask yourself those questions as you're working through your assignments and it comes time to create a reference list or bibliography. Anyway, so this is just a reinforcement of what I've just said, why you need to reference to avoid plagiarism, show you're well informed, support any claims you make. You just don't want to be making assumptions out of thin air about any evidence to back it up. Provide verifiable details. So basically, if your course coordinator is reading your assignment and they go, oh, that's a really good comment that person's made, you then want your referencing to be so transparent that they could go and also look up the book or article or whatever that you found that from and find the same reference themselves. And most importantly, acknowledge the work of others. So in referencing, there's kind of two concepts with referencing. And that is referencing format and the referencing style. So format refers to whether you have in-text citations or footnotes, and the footnotes are usually numbered so you can tell them apart. So whether it's kind of in the paragraph or down the bottom of the page, whether you have a reference list or a bibliography, very similar, but we'll go over the difference in a little bit. And also the punctuation and syntax that you use when you do references. So for example, when you have a reference in a bibliography, so for example, the journal article title might be italicized in one type of referencing format, and it might be in quotation marks in another type of referencing format. So those little nitty-gritty kind of things in referencing you do have to pay attention to. And then that goes hand in hand with referencing style, which is a set of standardized conventions So they're all named. We have guides for all of them. So Harvard, APA 7, Chicago and Vancouver, the main one. There's also a separate one for law as well. And they're like the guidebook, they're the instruction book, how to format a reference in Harvard style, how to format a reference in APA style, etc. So basically, this is an example of referencing style in Harvard. You can see Harvard here where it is highlighted in yellow, uses in-text citation. So that's basically putting the surname and the year of the publication of whatever resource you're using in brackets at the end of a sentence. And then you can see in a reference list that formatted in Harvard style there. So basically, when you're doing an assignment, you'll always mention a reference twice, once shortened in text and a longer one at the end that gives all the information about that resource that you have used. This is the same kind of again, but APA 7th, you can see a little bit of differences. So exactly the same, but you can see they've just put a comma in between the surname and the year. So again, tiny little things you have to pay attention to. And then you can see here in the reference list, there's just a bit of differences as well. APA 7 likes you to hyperlink the online link to where you found the article. And other little changes in there as well, commas, full stops. But again, those are really, really important to be aware of. And you can see here from these examples, these are really clear. You can really clearly see where the information is coming from. This is Chicago. So Chicago is a style that uses footnotes. So you can see here we've got a little one there, and then you can see that you put the reference in footnotes underneath the paragraph. So Chicago, I know, is used quite a lot in humanities, and you can also add notes as well, a bit of extra contextual information in footnotes, if you so wish, in this style as well. And you can see that in the reference list, they have the hanging kind of indent and not the hyperlink, but it's just those you can see. Same source, kind of formatted in different referencing styles. And this is Vancouver, which has very little information. It's kind of an in-text, just the number. And then you can see the reference list. Basically in Vancouver, it corresponds to your core number 1 will be the first resource you reference in an essay, and you kind of do it chronologically as per, I mentioned this resource first, this resource second, and that's the order you put them in your reference list. I just want to show you there's kind of a cheats way. If you're like, oh, going to be referencing all these references and formatting them correctly, how can I kind of speed that process up? It's a bit daunting. Well, if you're searching for a resource in library search, I'm just going to search guinea pigs. It's my favorite topic in the whole wide world. I have 2 pet guinea pigs. Anytime I have to do an example search on anything, it's going to be about them. I digress anyway. So basically, I'm just trying to get an example up in library search. So you're searching for a resource. You found one in library search. If you press on it and go to this landing page of the resource, under the send to option, you will see a citation button. If you just press that, you can see we have the option here for Harvard, APA, MLA, and Vancouver, and it will automatically format the reference for you. So it's in Harvard U of A. You can simply copy the citation to clipboard and then copy and paste that into your Word document or other assignment that you're working on. It is a good practice to double check the style guide on our website to make sure this is correctly formatted, because it doesn't always get it 100% correct. But this is a quicker way for you. And if you're using some databases later on in your degree, most databases offer this function as well. So moving on to referencing style guide, I just want to show you guys interactive Harvard U of A guide that I briefly mentioned before. So basically this is being built by some of our colleagues in LEI, and it's run by the library. And basically this is like an interactive guide to the different types of resources you might want to reference with Harvard. So Harvard U of A is the mostly widely used referencing style at the University of Adelaide. And just as a point, Harvard is more of, there isn't like a set guide for Harvard. It's kind of adjusted for each different institution. So really, if you're using Harvard at the University of Adelaide, you want to use this guide. You can't just quickly Google, oh, how to Harvard reference a book, and then suddenly land on the University of Melbourne's Harvard referencing page, because it might have a few differences and you want to make sure you get it correct. So basically, we have a bit here about Harvard U of A, how it works and that kind of thing. Some FAQs. Like, how do I reference multiple sources, multiple authors when it gets a bit complicated? You're like, oh, it's too hard. We have all the questions there for you. And then as examples, we have different resources in this first column. item subtypes in a second. So you can pick ebook, and then it will give you the required information, layout, some notes, and then examples in a reference list and in text references as well. So you can have a bit of a play with that. It's really useful. It really lays it out for you without having to read a long PDF document. Although if you do like long PDF documents, just in the corner here, we do have a PDF version of this you can download if you don't like being interactive. Okay, so basically reference list or bibliography, I briefly mentioned a bit earlier that there is a difference between the two of them. So reference list only includes sources referred to in your work versus the bibliography that may include extra sources you don't reference directly in your work but were helpful for you. Basically, course coordinators and lecturers can use these two words interchangeably, so it's always good to check with them exactly what they mean because there is a difference between both of them. They're fundamentally the same function, but it's just that your course coordinator may just want you to list everything you've read rather than everything you ended up. Because basically when you do an assignment, you'll probably read more than what you eventually put in the assignment. So it's just that little difference there. And so moving on quickly to the new frontier in referencing, which is acknowledging use of AI tools in research and assignments. So some basically check with your course coordinator. Some courses allow you to use tools like ChatGPT and things like that to do your assignments, to brainstorm ideas, formulate research questions, that kind of thing. So basically, some referencing styles have broad guidelines about how to reference AI material because it's a bit different than like a normal book. But basically what you want to do is you have the reference and then you'll also have an acknowledgement. So it depends on what your course coordinator actually wants, but generally you have to kind of acknowledge and express in your assignment exactly how you use AI. So you can see this example on the screen, which just has a little blurb that says, I acknowledge the use of ChatGPT to generate ideas and material for background research on this assignment. And then you basically give a list of the prompts you use to generate that information. And that's best practice in this space. And a little bit more detail because ChatGPT is an area and other AI tools is an area where there isn't much transparency and a bit of a concern about how it's being used. So you really, really want to make that clear over and above how you use other resources as well. And then acknowledging an image here, because it might be quite common if you're doing a PowerPoint or a presentation, you might want to generate an AI image. This is just an example of that. So image created with Microsoft Copilot's creative mode. And then, so you're basically saying what tool you used to make it, and then what prompt you used as well. Okay, so I'm just going to actually show you. We just go back to the referencing page here. I just do want to point out, I skipped over it before. If we just go back, so more style guides here. We just go to this page, we have guides, so I said law referencing, Vancouver, APA 7, Chicago, and then we also have referencing styles for specialist resources as well, so Chinese and Japanese sources, music scores, Harvard for classics, Indigenous resources, and the one I want to draw attention to right now is artificial intelligence. So this links to our artificial intelligence LibGuide. And if we just go to side here, you can see under a banner of citing and acknowledging AI, we have actually provided advice in the different referencing styles of how to do that. So for example, with Harvard, we've recommended following guidelines using as personal communication. So we've given examples there. So this is citation and acknowledgement of difference. So this is how you present the AI tools in a reference list or in text, and then the acknowledgement would be separate at the end as well. So just some examples here, again, how to use APA 7, you can see here, we call the author OpenAI, so the publisher, the creator of the AI tool. Very similar kind of throughout the styles, but yeah, there are other differences that you really need to be made aware of as well. So basically, to summarize, we've kind of gone through the importance of referencing the different formats and styles. This was a crash course. There's a lot more detail you could go into, but we just wanted to give you a bit of a taster of this space, give you a bit of an idea and show different resources we have on offer. So we looked at the referencing support web pages. And if you have any questions about referencing, you can contact the library for assistance. There is a link on our referencing support page that I just showed you, but if you just go to the library homepage, there is You can ask libraries your first port of call for referencing queries, and then if they're really complicated and difficult, make you want to cry, then they'll get escalated up to our team, and me and one of my colleagues will get back to you on that. There's also online chat if you have a referencing question you don't want to talk to anyone in person as well. So next up, here we go. Here's a little list. So next up in our series, we have quite a few coming up. They're on every week except for mid-semester break. So next up next week, we have a half-an-hour webinar on grey literature explained. So basically, what is grey literature and how to find it. Then unlocking academic databases, crack detection, evaluating sources, and then evaluating Gen AI outputs. If you scan the QR code on the screen, you'll be sent to our webpage where you can register to receive the Zoom link. Although if you've already registered for this one, you probably already know the page already. And yeah, we really hope you continue turning up and learn something from them as well. I hope you have a great day, and we hope to see you in the library again soon. Thank you, everyone.